All right, so just saw this story about the Mormon 70 who finds doubts online about the church. So basically, a 70 is it's a leader in the church that has a lot of stewardship or a lot of responsibility over a big area, so to speak. And this man was from Sweden, and he started to read some material online and have some doubts about the church. And I guess largely he felt kind of sidestepped by his superiors, as the story calls, that they didn't give him the answers that he wanted, so to speak. It was interesting. A lot of his doubts stemmed around, Joseph Smith marrying multiple wives, some young age, and some other things. And those are all things that I've, known for a really long time, and most people know for a really long time. They're not things that are taught about in Sunday because they're not particularly faith-inspiring, but the only reason why people really know that it's true or that it did happen is because they go onto the church archives and look. And so the church publishes all of the history. It doesn't hide the history. It's all there, but it doesn't, I guess, brag about the lesser, the things that aren't nice. Like, there's tons of different things that people have qualms with. And the Mountain Meadow Massacre, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, Mormons kill people, but if you really look into the history, Brigham Young told the people not to murder. And so just because some Mormons choose to do dumb things doesn't mean that Mormons aren't good people and that they don't follow God. The reason why I'm Mormon isn't because someone else told me to be Mormon, or someone, even whatever Joseph Smith, Brigham Young, any of the early prophets decided to do. When I think back at the early prophets, one of the things that I'm always reminded of when I see, frailties or their perceived mistakes, I think of perhaps a recent convert that's just barely joined the church. Because essentially that's what they were. They weren't raised in the church. They didn't learn or know everything. Of course, they had communication with God, just as you and I have communication with God, and maybe more at a little bit more intimate level for some. But they're still human, and they still make mistakes. And to claim that a prophet doesn't make mistakes, you can look into the Bible for tons of other examples of prophets making mistakes. I don't know. You can look at there's one line that talks about one of the prophets that not in the LDS Church, but in the Bible, that when people were looking the other way, he murdered a slave and buried him under the sand. And so, was that of God? Probably not. But it was a different time, and everyone makes mistakes. So it's kind of you have to choose what battles you want to pick. If you don't believe in God at all, then who's answering your prayers? Who's sending you guidance through the Spirit? If you don't believe in the Mormon God anymore because you've seen frailties or you've seen shortcomings in previous prophets, then who are you? Because you have shortcomings, you have frailties, but God still speaks to you, and God still gives you spiritual experiences and guidance. So really, it comes down to, in my humble opinion, is God speaking to us? If God is speaking to you, one, then obviously He's there. If He's guiding you to stay in the church, and He's continually giving you those peaceful, reassuring inspirations, then do it. Stay. It's God's wisdom. We can't judge other people on their actions. Even Saul, who then became Paul, he persecuted the church for a long time until he joined. He had a vision, and when God tells you do, even though his logical mind told him that he should have persecuted, but as soon as God appeared to him He changed his ways. So I'm not saying dismiss your logical mind. I'm just saying that God trumps everything else. If God tells you, do it. So with any new information you receive, pray about it. Seek wisdom, seek guidance, seek answers. There's probably a church historian or ward historian that might be able to lend you some advice. Personal message me. I'm more than happy to answer some of the harder questions that I've found answers to. But ultimately it keeps coming back to, I know that God lives and He guides me every day. So stay strong.